lot of miles on this truck. Give us just a little luck, and we'll make it to the next show. No, there's no backing up. Down the road is where we're gonna end up. Pour a little something in my cup and we go where the girls all holler and the guys agree that it's gonna get rowdy, and that's fine with me. Yeah, we're gonna get a drink on, party all night long, playing a fast song. Are you with me? Going where the girls are, living like a rock star. Gonna load up and chew whiskey.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Off the Record. I'm your host, Aaron Ankrum. Today we have a special treat for you as we have the Jack Maybe Project with us.
Hello.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
First and foremost, if you guys want to introduce yourselves and what part of the band you are.
I'm Bree. I do the female vocals for the band.
I'm Jack. I play guitar and sing, write songs, and everything else that needs to happen for the band.
You are Jack Maybe.
I am Jack Maybe of the Jack Maybe Project.
Jack Maybe's here with us. We love it. Well, your band, just in general, people that haven't heard you before, what can they kind of expect from your sound, your music, just in a whole?
We do. I always. Maurice and the Sif Sisters, actually, I'm wearing their shirt today. He described us once as the American songbook, which I really enjoy because it's probably the closest and shortest thing you can say. Like, it's blues, jazz, folk, just different types of Americana sound.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I've actually got to hear some of your guys' stuff, and you have an instant fan right now.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. We need every single one.
Now we have two of you here.
Mm-hmm.
And as we talked off camera, your band can expand to up to like 9 people.
That's
Nine
right.
people.
9 people.
At our
So,
fullest.
so it's your guitar singer.
Mhm.
You sing. So what other parts of the band are we missing today?
We've got a drummer. We've got a banjo player who also does vocals too. Really good vocals. Then we've got a trombone, a trumpet, a clarinet, an upright bass. And then every once in a blue moon, we have a saxophone as well.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Do
really
you,
cool.
do you guys enjoy when the full band comes together?
So much.
Is it a lot of fun?
Yeah.
The energy just goes way up, and it gets a lot, just more fun in general. People start dancing around, and one of these times I'm going to hop off the stage and dance with them, I'm sure.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Now, when you have a band that size, collaborating and writing, like how do you go about?
Writing, I do.
all Jack.
And I just write the tunes, and then I create chord charts for people. And it depends on who I'm playing with during what. For example, if I'm playing with Will, my banjo player, he'll chord out what we're supposed to be doing, and if I have any suggestions, or because I also play banjo, but if I have any suggestions or things that I had in mind while writing, I would tell him about it. And then for the second line, for the horn section, usually I just have them do second line stuff, but every once in a while I would say you need to hit here, here, and here, or we need to, or I'll write the music down. I'm trained as a musician, so I have music theory knowledge and stuff like that.
So you can write all the notes out that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so you have to
sometimes.
find the musicians that can actually
Yes.
read the
Yeah,
music
exactly.
too.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now, I was going to ask you, Bree, so you've been singing like
Forever.
forever.
Yeah,
And,
forever, forever.
what do you like so much about just singing in general? And then also what kind of like singers do you like to listen to
Oh
that
man.
inspire you?
That is a big question. Okay, well, music in general for me and singing just as a whole is just something that I think is just really interesting to see how it can like resonate and connect with so many different people on so many different levels. Yeah, so it's just really cool to be able to use like my time and my life and stuff to be doing something that can be so impactful, you know?
Yeah.
Even if it's just small stuff, like small scale impact, like it still matters a ton to me. So I really like to be able to do that sort of thing with my music and singing and stuff. And then as far as music and artists that I look up to, that is a way impossible question because
There's a lot of them.
there are so many different like genres and so many different like reasons for why I look up to certain musicians and certain artists and things. So like you'll have to give me a minute. I'll mull it over and I might be able to answer your question after I've been thinking on it and sitting on it. But as of right now, there are too many choices.
Well, why don't we throw it over to Jack?
Yeah.
Jack, do you have any artists that that you kind of look for inspiration with your music, or is it just kind of like your own?
I have a lot. Paul Simon, probably the earliest and biggest in my life. He, I love Simon and Garfunkel, in case anybody doesn't know. But yeah, it was because it was just perfect timing. I was, in high school, I was playing guitar and whatnot, off in my own loner self, and then I started to listen to less angry music and started listening more like music that I'm listening to now. And
That's surprising that you say less angry, because I don't hear angry in your music today.
Oh, good.
Like
there's a bit, but it's not like the stuff that I was listening to. Like I used to listen to metal and all that type of stuff.
Screamo.
Yeah.
I don't see a reflection of that music. That's crazy.
Well, it's because
I never guessed.
My musical vocabulary and knowledge was expanding about the time that I started taking guitar more seriously, which was around the same time I started listening to more Paul Simon and Simon and Garfunkel, the Beatles, and just in that it kind of pulled me in a completely different direction to what I was previously at.
Yeah.
And then after that phase, and I was doing all the at one point I knew one in every 3 Beatles song, which is a huge list, by the way. And I would, after that kind of section of my life, I started doing more kind of singer-songwriter folk, Bob Dylan, Paul Simon's solo stuff, and that's kind of the start of where my music is now expanded to.
Pretty awesome. Did you have time to think of anything?
I was trying. I was like, man.
Let's talk about
really
this. You both have gone to school for music.
Mm-hmm.
How has that helped you as musicians? Obviously huge, with just in general, just getting the education and stuff. But is there anything specific when you were going through school? You were a vocal major?
Yeah. My degree was, it had a music performance focus. So in my schooling, I was trained classically, which is a lot different from what I'm doing now. But I think it was really helpful in that because it helped me get comfortable on a stage singing in front of people.
Yeah.
Because beforehand, I was like, I'll sing you a song, but like, don't look at me. Like, I'll sing from like behind the curtains. That's fine.
How hard is it to take that step?
It really depends on where you're at in like life. Like when I first started, when I went into school, I was obviously a freshman in college, and that was me like moving to a whole new state, being away from all of my family. So I was like, yep, can't do this.
Yeah.
This is a terrifying experience. So a lot of my first performances ended with me crying a lot because I was just nervous and scared.
Afterwards?
Yeah, afterwards, not during. I was professional about it. I was able to hold it together, yeah. But yeah, so it was super stressful starting off. But as my like knowledge of the music like expanded and I like felt more comfortable with like what I was singing and the messages behind the music that I was working on, and then I was able to in turn like use that and like take the stories from it and put that into how I would like go about performing it, which helps me immensely now, because now once I'm with the band, I'm just gonna sing around and dance around and I'm gonna be happy because this is what I'm happiest doing. And then as far as like technicality portion goes, my degree in music has really helped me be able to tackle like harmonies and stuff. So like Jack won't need to like write down my pieces for me. He'll be like, all right, here's a song, go.
Yeah.
And so then I'll just be able to be like, okay,
Saves a lot of time for me.
yeah,
that's
saving him
awesome.
some time. I get to work a little magic of my own. So yeah, it was very helpful.
That's awesome.
Expensive.
What about
helpful,
you,
though.
Jack, with your education?
Exposure was a lot of it, kind of the biggest help for me. When I started to be a classical guitarist, which is what I went to school for, I didn't really enjoy classical music that much. I wasn't like a big fan, and most of the people who go into the classical program have been playing classical their entire time. So I felt a little intimidated, but my technique was basically there already, so all I needed to do was get the repertoire, understand the theory, because I also, before I went to school, I was learning how to read while everybody else was learning music theory. And because I already had like the notes that I would call things, like I would call triads like triangles.
Oh.
So I had my own terms for these things, and so all I had to do was like look up and be like, okay, so that's a triangle, and then I would go back to learning how to read music.
Yeah.
And I cut it pretty quickly. But I think another big thing that kind of gets overlooked is connecting with performance, like with what you're doing on stage. One of the worst thing you can do is just kind of sit there and just play the tunes.
Oh yeah.
And so, but also like, if you just play the tunes come out and you're just like, well, that was lackluster.
Yeah.
And how to get that emotional response from your playing and draw that out on your side is probably the biggest thing that I got from my performance degree. Because if you can find a connection with Soar's second study, you can find a connection with any music you're about to play.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's fun to hear because like if you think about like how important education can be towards your goals and your music aspirations and whatnot, it's fun to hear about. Now you both. Now, if you guys haven't heard, you're going to hear them soon. But if you if you haven't heard these guys play and sing together, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So when you guys first sang together and kind of found each other out, like how did that go about? Like, because you guys, it's like.
Do you remember? I don't really remember.
How we joined forces and
Yeah.
became.
Yeah.
I do remember. I was in a band.
Yeah.
And
Be nice.
Jack got asked to join us for one of the performances that we were doing.
I play upright as well.
Yeah,
That
he
was
plays the
okay.
upright bass. So he joined that band for a show. And during the rehearsal afterwards, he was just like, hey, you want to do some more music stuff? And I was like, yeah, I would love to be doing more music stuff, because at the time I had just like recently graduated from school, so I was really missing music a
Yeah.
lot, because it was like I had this one band, but like it didn't feel like enough, you know. And so then a little bit after that, then Jack and I started doing rehearsals and stuff together, and the first show that I played with them was for your big birthday celebration
That's
that we
right.
did at Cali's Olympian.
Olympian.
So it was a really cool.
That's why I don't remember.
Yeah, it was.
Party.
Yeah, he was partying. So it was a really, really awesome way to like start being a part of something that is so important to me now. You know, yeah. So that's how.
And that's what
I
you
said
said.
the
That's
band.
been about 2 years.
Yeah,
now?
I celebrated my 2-year anniversary with the band in March.
That's so awesome. Now, what about for you, Jack, with music? When you got started with the band,
When I started the band.
yeah,
Okay.
was that Bree wasn't at the very beginning.
No, I started with just my drummer and my banjo player. My drummer's Dennis Aish, and my banjo player is Will St. John. I've been playing with Will St. John for years at this point. We were in a previous band together called King Columbia,
Okay.
and that band kind of went our separate ways, and we moved on. And he has a band as well that I play bass in, but
Me too.
he's pretty busy with life right now, so he's not playing on his own stuff very much right now. But anytime he does it and needs a bass player, I usually play for him. But he hops in on my stuff and gives me feedback, and he's probably the one who I'm like closest to in the band as far as like pitching, like, hey, what do you think about this? He gives me a lot of good feedback with that, as far as songwriting goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So in a whole, you've been a band, like you've had your band for how long now?
2.5 years. It wasn't too far after when she joined. Was Tyler already in the band when you joined, or
No,
did they come after?
Tyler and Brooke and everybody was after, but Hashem was in the band.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so
Hashem was a sax player who we played with for a while, and then he got a little busy. Now he's doing some DJ stuff. I saw.
Yeah, he was doing some dubstep. He asked me to do some St. James Infirmary, so he
cool.
could dubstep over it.
So
It
you're
was
gonna
awesome.
sing on the dubstep.
Yeah,
All right, so
it was
that's
really interesting.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So you guys had a album release recently. It was March 3rd. You released an album. What was the name of the album?
Weary Bones and Witchcraft.
Awesome.
We released it at the Doug Fur. We co-headlined with
Sam Chase.
the Sam Chase and the Untraditional.
The Sam Chase.
That's awesome. Now I brought that up because I'm gonna go here with the artwork. The artwork on your albums. You have a couple other albums out, and your art and the artwork on your website as well. It's awesome.
Thank you.
I think it really ties nicely to your sound too. It complements each other. Can you speak about how you guys went about the design for your products?
Sure. So I know this artist named Maggie Brandt. You should look her up. She's really good. But she and I have known each other for quite some time. When I started thinking about how what I'm gonna do for the album art, it came to mind to maybe use a local artist. And I was like, cool, I know this person. So I asked her if she wanted to do it. She was into it. And that was the first album. And I liked it so much that I've just been using it. I've been using not only that, but like the themes and the effects of what that is. And I just kind of included that in the branding, I guess, in the band. But a lot of the time, it usually goes, hey, Maggie, we need a thing for this thing. And she'll be like, all right, when do you need to buy? I'll tell her when I need to buy.
10 minutes.
And then she if it's something big like an album, she'll send over some drafts first that she just sketches out real quick. And we talk over like what we're thinking, and mix and match or whatever, and eventually it comes out with the final product.
Well, there's one art piece that we were talking about off camera with the little characters that's supposed to represent you guys.
The little monsters.
Yeah.
For each of us.
Was that a creative, collaborative idea, or did she just come up with that? For you
No,
guys?
I told her that I would like a picture of basically something kind of like what the band represents, and there's a story about when she was doing the art at first, that she was just like looking up pictures of me and like figuring out like on my Facebook and stuff like that. And I feel like she probably did that with the rest of you all as well, or at least the ones that she knew. But she really has a talent for like getting your essence into whatever she's about to do.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I was also going to ask about your music videos. You have some. You have I think 3 up on YouTube, maybe 4. Might have 4, but the ones that stuck out were they kind of tie in well with your sound, and like as I was mentioning, that you have kind of like a black and white kind of old school.
Those are me that I just do it real quick as just an additional thing when I'm about to like release an album or something, or right after I release an album. I just find some B-roll footage on the government archives or something, or a public domain, and I just go through it, and like if I like it, I take it out and I'll put it in the video and splice it up, and it's usually pretty fun.
So you're pretty much you're doing a lot of the creative stuff yourself too on that aspect of it.
I do most of the things. Well, it's because I want my band members to not have to worry about that
Yeah.
stuff. I want to book a show, be like, hey, who can make it and this rehearsal?
Yeah.
The only thing I want them to stress about is the rehearsal and the show.
Yeah.
And if I can get it down to just those things, then I can worry about the rest. And that way, it's easier for everybody, and it's more fun for everybody to come out and do it again,
Yeah.
and to have just an awesome time. And then they want to come back. That way, I don't freak anybody out or make anybody mad.
He does a good job, doesn't he?
Does a great job. I love it. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of your events and your shows that you've done that have kind of stood out to you. Some of your favorite ones that locally, or if it's been on the road.
I got one. My favorite was a random one that we picked up in Eastern Oregon because they saw that we were playing at in La Grande, and it was for the wedding.
The wedding one. That one's my favorite too.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was a fun one because they just saw that we happened to be playing that weekend, and they sent us a message asking if we wanted to play for their wedding, and we were like, sure, I guess. Like, we're not doing anything else, so we go out. It's in the middle of nowhere, like Lostine, Oregon. I don't know if you know where that is, but
You said Lost in Oregon?
Lostine. Yeah.
Lostine. Okay.
And it's in a barn,
Oh, wow.
and we go up, and it's got these cool lights, and there's like a deer skull overlooking these two, like the holler of these two mountainsides, and it was super beautiful, and people were super appreciative, and we danced and hollered and had a blast.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to also ask you guys, shows coming up. You guys are going on a little, you guys have a little tour coming up? Like, not locally, but...
Yeah. The next...
Sorts.
Hmm?
Kind of.
We have like little weekend excursions. It's not exactly touring. We had a tour last summer that was a proper tour where we would go around, and but we like to play regionally.
Mm-hmm.
I think our next away gig is in Port Townsend,
Yes.
which is
Love that.
I think we're playing Siren's Pub again,
Okay.
and that place is hilarious because the one time we played there, somebody got really drunk, asked us to play Lumineers, and we were like, we don't know any Lumineers, and then threw our mic on the floor and by accident as she was getting off the stage.
And then she just shrugged and walked away. Stumbled away.
There's this whole series on YouTube that's like Crimes of Port Townsend, where it's like the police get called to these random weird places. Like some guy was putting just blue flowers all over himself, and somebody called out for that, and that's all he was doing. It's just Port Townsend's a weird spot, but I love it. It's one of my
I
favorites.
love it so much.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
I'm so excited to be going there soon.
No, and
Yeah, we're doing weekend stuff mostly.
weekend stuff. And then
Yeah.
in September, you're going to have a show in Portland.
Yeah, we're gonna be playing in Kelly's Olympian
Okay.
with Corwin Bolt and the Wingnuts, who are from Salem.
Okay. And
From Eugene.
that's what,
Nice.
September 27th.
September
Yes.
27th.
I think that's a Friday.
And then
I think so.
people can see you do a solo act.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
right. I'm going to be doing the Aloha Community Farmers Market Thursday on June 6th.
June 6th. All right. Well, that's great. I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time and
Of course.
and
So
joining
happy
me
to.
here. All right, make sure you guys stay tuned because you'll want to definitely check out the Jack Maybe project. They're incredible. We will see you guys next time on Off the Record. Thank you and take care.
I just left Houston when the war was won. It's 1853. My wife died at 21, and I was born in a tornado. My parents were the wind and the sun. wind travels all over. The sun shines down on everyone. So where do I belong, says the fox to the trail, says the next breath to the song that's been sung. I grab my horse and I travel westward to see where my mother's from. Same place my father's buried. Oh Lord, here I come, here I come. Well, the fox just smiles and dances around with open chords and ugly sounds. And the last song sung is a terrible one, with offbeat timing in a brown-eyed owl. Whoo!
There's no giving up. No, we're here until the last drop. But she's sure looking hot over there looking at me. Yeah, the dance floor's filling up. Yeah, we're giving them a reason to tear it up. Moving their body to the kick drum. I get a little frisky. The girls all holler and the guys agree that it's gonna get rowdy. That's just fine with me. And we're gonna get our drink on, party all night long, play another fast song. Are you with me? Going where the girls are, living like a rock star. Gonna load up and shoot whiskey.